Really? Go. Also, it deafens the noise a little bit. Just a little bit. Get a little music going off in the background here.
I already got some out there. I just got some in your room.
There we go. Sweet. Alright, body, mind, and brain. Wake up. Body, mind, and brain. Go forth and energize yourself. Honestly, coffee sounds pretty good right now, but I have no access to them. Damn it. I have no access to coffee. I have to wait until I get to work for a coffee, which is a sad state of affairs for me. Who wants to wait until work to have the coffee? Shouldn't it be before they go to work? But alas, I suffer. Alright. First ball load up for the day. Sweet, sweet. Sweet. Alright. Sweet, now I got the first bowl going. Alright, now I'll wake my brain up. Make sure my brain's all awake. And then we can go see what be happening for today. Let's see. I don't know this much. I got a fucking blister on my foot. That's hurting like a bitch. It's like like right above my heel. And it feels great. I'm just like, alright, let me see if putting a nice fresh pair of socks on and fucking kind of give him, you know, like the foot quick old wash and shit. You know, see if that helped. It didn't. Well, I mean, it did, but it didn't. So it's like, god damn it. So now I just have like this painful blister on my back of my foot, and it's great. And I have to be on my feet all day today. Great. That blister is not going to get worse at all. That 100% is going to get better today. Yay! It's like, fuck me. Probably going to be like limping like an old man by the time I'm done today. Just like, Can barely walk for shit. I'm injured. I'm a broken man. I'm a broken man. Nice. Seriously, coffee is. These up outside. Oh, what? There you are. Look at baby. Sweet little thing. Oh, sweet thing. Well, thanks for being in my way. As you usually are. Oh, look at you. Alright, I'll give you a treat. Paul? Stand up. Stand. Stand. Stand up. You gotta stand up, bro. Stand. Do you just not want to work for it? There you go. Aww. What a goofy little boy. Let's see what'd be down for tube here. Let's see what there is news-wise. Oh. What is this? Da-da-da-da. Oh. I can't even read the full title. God damn it. What's it say? Jordan Pierce takes his embarrassingly Bond villain act to a disgustingly low. Bond villain act. My God. What else is already good?
Now that she mentioned it. He really is my favorite these days to make fun of.
It's really not only like the content, but also like
Jordan Peterson always deserves to be made fun of.
Yeah.
He's just,
it's great.
Every one of his videos looks like he's holding somebody.
Undoubtedly.
But.
Yeah. But. Right. I mean, it is.
But.
Another butt for good measure.
What?
Jordan Peterson basically was hired by the Daily
They
Wire.
say that you like big butts and you cannot lie.
Trans push that has been their flagship was the Matt Walsh documentary. I say that with sarcasm because there's really not much actual research involved there, called What is a Woman, where they're undercutting the existence of trans people and denying their existence.
Yeah, I've heard of that documentary. It's been around. It's been making its runs. And frankly, the idea that it's a documentary is kind of fucking hilarious. Like, I mean, it's more of a mockumentary more than anything. Just mocking the, like, if it wasn't done by a fucking theocratic fascist, like, it would basically be, at least to me, seen as a full-on mockumentary making fun of these fucking people. But, no. It's genuine.
And, filling out that lineup of anti-trans programming on the Daily Wire with his new show, talking about how gender-affirming care should be illegal and comparing such care to Nazi experiments.
And even more firmly, how about making the medical conversion of boys into girls and girls into boys illegal?
Can we make you illegal?
Allow minors to get tattoos. They can't drink or drive or both.
Pause.
They can't.
Okay, so,
And also, minors as in refer to what age? Because, at least as far as I'm aware, at least in Oregon, like, if you're like 16 or 17 and you want a tattoo and the parents are fine with it, you can get one. And also, you can get a driver's license at the age of like 15, 16, or 17, depending on what state you're in and what county you're in. Rural areas, you're able to drive a little younger, you know, because chances are you're probably going to be a kid, you know, helping out, you know, like, you know, on a farm or some shit, and thus you're probably going to need a truck to drive around to, you know, help out with shit like that or something, you know. So it's like, what? Even there, Jordan Peterson's wrong. Oh my god, what an idiot. It's like, he can't even get his fucking, like, actual, like, information right. It's like, yeah, there are cases where minors can, yes, get tattoos or fucking drive. I mean, yeah, they can't do it when they're, like, 13, 14 or whatever. Like, I mean, but if they're, like, 16 or 17, yeah, chances they can, if they want, and their parents are fine with it, and are okay with it. So,
drive if you are a minor. You get a driver's permit, and you go through to I mean, it depends on the state. You could drive when you're 15, you could drive when you're 16, you could drive when you're 17. But
yep,
you are a minor if you're under the age of 18, and you can drive. But the point is also that when he talked, what does he say there? Does he say surgery or just gender or the transitioning? Yes, you can use puberty blockers when you are a kid. But for the most part, I do not think that the transition surgery, it happens for kids underage.
It doesn't. Like, the idea that actual, like, physical surgeries and invasive surgeries and things like that happen as a minor don't happen. Like, that shit doesn't happen. Like, what does happen, though, are, like, the things like the puberty blockers and things like that, but not, like, full-on surgeries. And, like, that happens when they're an adult.
It's basically a red herring, a way to make the trans care seem even more extreme. And just so you know that he's in bad faith here. Remember when he got banned from Twitter and said, "I'd rather die than delete his tweet where he dead named Elliot Page"? He referred to the physician that performed Elliot Page's surgery as a criminal.
Yeah.
Elliot Page was well into adulthood when he got his surgery, his top surgery. So now...
A little different than just, like, boys or girls getting surgeries, which, again, doesn't even happen in the first place anyway. But it seems a little contradictory. It's like, I don't think that little kids, you know, or minors ought to be doing that. And then you're fucking, like, freaking out and calling, like, a surgeon criminal for doing that to an adult. Okay.
That it's really only criminal because this is happening to minors? Well, let's see if he explains himself.
He won't.
And girls into boys? Illegal. We don't allow minors to get tattoos. They can't drink or drive or both. They can't vote.
I mean, I didn't even catch that part. Like, you can't drink or drive or both. It's like, no one can. It's illegal to drink and drive, you idiot. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a minor. It's technically, the punishment's worse if you're a minor, but even if you're an adult, you can't do that. Oh my god, are we serious? No, like, that's not legal, bro. Like, no one can just drink or drive. I mean, fuck, even when you're an adult, you can't do that until you're 21. So, it's like, what? Oh, wow. Bro, like, you don't necessarily have to be a minor to not be able to drink there, buddy. Like, I mean, nothing's inherently stopping you from picking a beer up and drinking it, but you can't go buy it, and if you're caught at a bar or anywhere else drinking that shit, that technically would be illegal. But if you're at, like, your buddy's house and happen to have a beer or two, I mean, no one's going to stop you. So, but still, it's just like, you can't necessarily just go out of your way to do that yourself. Even though you're an adult, you're not a minor no more, but you can't do that yet. You can't buy a beer. You can go vote and go draft in the military, but you can't buy a beer yet.
Plenty of them are confused enough and hurt enough and starved for attention enough to drift into the hands
Projecting much?
of the villainous woke propagandists.
The villainous woke propaganda, dude. Like, what? Oh my god, he literally does. Like, I've only seen some shit of this. I didn't even get this far into it. Oh my, I feel vindicated. Like, he actually does legitimately think he's on, like, the front lines of, like, the Inquisition or some shit. Like, he honestly does. Like, it's the equivalent of, like, the woke version of Stalingrad, and he's fucking, like, you know, battling out in the fucking Inquisition or something. Like, manning the fucking machine gun, holding off the Red Army woke horde or something, dude. Like, he literally just thinks that. And God, he literally looks like a fucking ghoulish vampire, too.
To cut off their breasts and their balls.
Okay, pause it. It's really something to hear a guy call the woke left villainous when he is in some sort of, like...
Quite literally, like, an overt, like, chauvinistic pinstripe Bond villain suit, while looking like he is recording, like, some cliche-ass Bond villain fucking, like, here's my plan to conquer the world speech. Like, I mean, it's just like, and you can't stop me, Mr. Bond. It's just like, it's just like, what the fuck? It feels like that. It's like, oh, so you have, like, you know, you can't stop me and I will take over the world, Mr. Bond speech going on, and you're quite literally looking like that. Basically freaking the fuck out over the fact that quite literally just trans people exist. And go out of their, you know, way to feel more comfortable with themselves by, you know, doing gender-affirming care and treatment for themselves. Yeah, okay. Neat.
Villain cave with the stalactites and stalagmites. What do you call it? Stalactites, stalagmites?
Yes, you're right.
Stalagmites.
And he has, like, bats flying overhead. He's really in some, like, some villain cosplay here, but it's the woke left. That's the problem, I guess. When he calls them butchers, it really is just despicable. Just despicable. And to be clear, I think I hedged a little there.
So, just regular old doctors and shit that happen to partake in, you know, a trans person's gender-affirming treatment is now considered a butcher now at this point. The equivalent of, like, somebody who would be at, like, the animal slaughterhouse getting ready to fucking carve up, you know, some fucking New York, like, steaks or some shit or whatever the fuck. It's like, alright.
That's not happening to underage kids. It's just not. They're put on puberty blockers as a way for them to feel like they are in their own bodies, that they are not in a foreign body, that does not compute with their perception of themselves, with their identity, with who they are. And that is a step on the way to gender-affirming care, which happens via surgery in adulthood. So, I mean, he just gets as grotesque as he possibly can because transphobia is really just a way to cement existing gender roles and stereotypes and ensure that...
I mean, honestly, even worse than that, fucking honestly. It's not just, you know, to just keep affirming, you know, the traditional norms as they are, but to even go farther back, to essentially do what, like, fucking frankly, what a lot of Nazis did, which is, like, when it came to book burnings and shit, straight up just destroyed and fucking removed and essentially censored by burning and subsequently killing a lot of queer folk and trans folk who were like, you know, like kind of expanding more about, you know, research into the fields about LGBT, you know, Q folk and a lot of, you know, things about, like, you know, Jewish science or, like, you know, Jewish culture and stuff like that was also heavily implied, you know, when it came to the LGBT and shit. And, like, this is a very common fucking thing, you know, so it's just like, frankly, people like Jordan Peterson aren't necessarily just trying to fucking, you know, keep, you know, the traditional norms as they are, but also just utterly destroy whatever progress has been made when it comes to, you know, just recognizing queer folk and trans folk specifically. I mean, it's just like, I wonder why he's just so adamant about making sure this type of stuff is just either silenced or just, like, taken out, you know, from the public's face as much as possible and as aggressively as possible. If it wasn't for the fact he had like a Kermit voice, he would legit sound like a fucking menacing demon.
Static and unchallenged, which helps the patriarchy, and is a reactionary impulse. But let's keep going.
Drift into the hands of the villainous, woke propagandists to allow the butchers to cut off their breasts and their balls. We have already passed legislation in much of the Western world outlawing so-called conversion therapy, which was a
yeah, because it's torture.
pseudo problem to begin with, because it was virtually never happening except among more explicitly fundamentalist counselors who were sporadically attempting to remediate, is there a more politically correct word, homosexuality. I don't know if anyone...
So, yeah, see my point? He's just like, oh, this gay conversion therapy, this conversion therapy with the politically correct term of homosexuality. It's just like, yeah, no, you see, like, this motherfucker is an advocate of gay conversion therapy. So, like, I mean, he's just dog whistling it. He, you know, just wants to simply see fucking queer folk, and specifically trans folk, you know, just put back in their fucking place, or better yet, just gone, you know, and just, like, doesn't exist anymore. He fucking just would rather, you know, like, have the more traditional, hyper-chauvinistic Christian fascist to fucking view a traditional norm of how society works. Like, that's what he wants, like, fundamentally. Like, he will, you know, bemoan and, you know, say that, like, oh, you know, it's just like, there's, you know, not a lot of these issues with a lot of these things, and if anything, you know, it's like, they're not even really that big of a problem, even though it literally is. Like fucking gay conversion therapy, or just straight up torturing people, you know, because they're queer, is, you know, straight up a fundamental major fucking problem in this country. Like, luckily not so much anymore, but it used to be a major problem in the US, you know, for quite some time, and it still is. There's plenty of fucking religious sects in this country, especially in the South, that still do gay conversion therapy, or straight up just fucking torture.
But the most severe form of conversion therapy is precisely the double mastectomies, removal of ovaries, uteri, and testes, and hormonal transformation of hapless children.
That's not conversion therapy. That's gender affirming care. That's not what that is. You fucking outright literal fascist fucking animal.
Physician or social worker risks his or her license, reputation, and livelihood if she or he dares talk to a minor about identity. But a butcher masquerading as a benevolent surgeon can...
What? Oh, like, so psychologists, nurses, and doctors or whatever get criticized for talking about identity? No. Literally no. What, you don't think, like, a lot of these doctors and nurses that partake in the gender-affirming care of these trans folk, you know, don't talk about it? Of course they do. If anything, it's probably one of the more main discussions of what they're fucking discussing with their patient. So, what? Like, they won't get fucking, like, oh my god, they won't get, like, criticized or fucking, you know, canceled or whatever the fuck just because they happenstance talk about it. It's when people like you, and fucking filth bags like you, decide to fucking use identity and transgenderism as a point, you know, to score more for the fucking Christian fascists and essentially continue more of the fucking hateful bigotry and crimes that, you know, are being partook against trans folk. Fucking animal.
Unity and be celebrated as a moral paragon. How about we stop doing this?
Ooh,
it's
my shit got delivered.
Do I really have to say this?
Well,
it's not just wrong. It's Auschwitz and...
you know, I'm just gonna pause that for a sec, because goddamn, bro. Aye. we go. Roll that right there. Sweet. Boop. Yay! My extendo came in. Anyway, here, let me go back a little bit just so I can really absorb this.
Paragon. How about we stop doing this? It's wrong.
You know what? Like, I know I got it out of context, but I do kind of agree with one thing out of context about what you just said there. Let's just stop doing this. Yeah, how about we stop, Jordan Peterson? Why don't you stop doing your stupid fucking filthy propagandizing fucking moral inquisitionist fucking fascistic garbage and actually just be a decent human being for once and just go fuck off and, you know, go to some random little watering hole that you belong in. Because no one gives a, you know, outside of your weird Christo-fascist fan base and shit, no one gives a fuck about what nonsense you're trying to fucking, you know, spew anymore outside of just fucking make fun of you and mock you. And frankly, as much of an unhinged, mentally unstable motherfucker that he is, I just frankly hope that just gets legit just worse and worse for him. Like, just straight up. Like, I hope it gets to the point that he just becomes, like, Dave Rubin's, to the point where, you know, as much as he tries and tries, you know, to be liked by, you know, different, you know, elements of, like, the right and the Christian, you know, groups, or, like, you know, different, you know, centrists and shit, he essentially just, you know, gets more and more pushed away by some of this more softcore believing types of folks and shit, where they frankly don't really give a much fuck about trans folk, just, you know, don't want them partaking in sports and stuff, you know, or, you know, wanting gender neutral bathrooms, but, you know, they're like fine with their existence, but then they see this and they're just like, well, you're actually going a little too far, bro. Because, I mean, there's been so many of motherfuckers that have pretty much already been like that. I mean, after this whole fucking clip, like, so many of his, you know, different fans are all just like, yo, a little too far, bro. Like, you know, it's like, I mean, it's like, yeah, you're starting to sound like, you know, a lot of, you know, crazy Christian fundamentalists, which I still don't like there, buddy. It's like, I mean, you're not exactly winning me over with this weird little deranged rant of mental instability. Which honestly just shows how much, you know, it's just such projection. Like, he's such a mentally unstable, insecure fuck that he can't help himself but just fundamentally, you know, break down over the fact that trans people exist, queer folk exist, and the fact that, you know, there's this quote-unquote postmodern, you know, sense of, like, a new, you know, cultural norms and established, you know, society going on that he just can't comprehend and just can't, he can't handle it. You know what? I hope it, you know, gets to the point where he just breaks down enough to where he's just in an insane asylum, as far as I give a shit. I'm like, fuck him. Like, I'm supposed to have empathy for this fuck, where he would be totally fine. It undermines the whole problems of gay conversion therapy, where people like me could be a victim of, and then try to fucking criminalize the fact that, you know, trans people exist by just demonizing them in every step of the way. Fuck this guy. Like, he ain't deserving my goddamn empathy. This dude's like, frankly, like, more or less, like, even, like, I won't even consider a fucking, like, hyena less than fucking Jordan Peterson and shit, like, frankly. And hyenas are fucking crazy, psychopathic little savages.
You have to say this? It's not just wrong. It's Auschwitz and Gulag level wrong. It's...
Yeah, you are.
Nazi medical experiment level wrong. It's Unit 731 level wrong. And...
Curious, I was saying it's like Nazi experimentation wrong, despite the fact that the Nazis are the ones that utterly exterminated and fucking destroyed any books and any science and any art and literature that came to LGBT folk and queer folk. Weird. It's as if the Nazis were actually the ones who were attacking those type of people, not the other way around. Kind of like you, Jordan Peterson.
Now, look up Unit 731 at your extreme peril.
Oh my god, he's like, he's really trying to emphasize on that one. 731, like, these butchers, these trans doctor-affirming demons are the equivalent of Unit 731. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Curious about that.
All right, well, he went there. Now, if Peterson wants to do some research, since he certainly has access to a thesaurus, which he uses to a degree that I would say is a bit excessive, gluttonous.
Moral paragon.
I just said the fact that that is a method of communication that works for some people is mind-boggling to me. He should look up queer history and understand that Nazis were engaged in transphobia and in homophobia and killed people who they perceived as not falling into the gender binary.
Yep.
Here's from The Nation.
I mean, fuck, back in like the mid to late 1800s, there was a trans man that who was a doctor back in at the time was still a British colony in I think it was Johannesburg in South Africa, and eventually this person who was initially was biologically born a woman but identified themselves as a man, and he basically would be a very successful doctor and politician to a degree as well when it came to helping improve the benefits and the conditions of the town and to the local populace that was in the area, and was actually a very fundamental key into playing a role into helping prosper the place and actually make it better, like making sure that clean water was accessible for everybody in the town and for the local populace, among other shit. So it's just like trans people have existed even before then, but it's just one of the more early notable accounts because the only reason why people found out was after he died, and and were about to do an autopsy, they realized biologically don't look like a man. Then realized I guess this person was biologically a woman this entire time. And unfortunately on the grave, I think has their dead name on their gravesite, but just because they obviously didn't understand what transgenderism was at that time, but nonetheless it was still a thing, and those people still existed despite the fact. So it's just like odd. It's as if the history of queer folk and trans folk have always been around since, I don't know, humanity's been a thing.
Wrote this up last year. What is less well known, although queer historians have made an effort to belatedly publicize the loss, is the significant number of the books that burned on that terrible night, talking about the night in 1993, when there were thousands and thousands of books burned in Germany. Did I say 1993? 1933. Is that a
I was about to be like, wait, the Nazis came back in 93 for a minute and died off after that? Okay.
Terrible night had made up the library of the Jewish sexologist Magnus Hirschfeld, whose Institute for Sexual Studies was the first clinic in the world to provide surgical interventions allowing trans individuals to live in the bodies they sought.
Based.
Institute, which opened in 1919, provided care that sought to dispel the shame that surrounded same-sex love and gender nonconformity, published path-breaking research into trans-affirming care, and gave office space to feminist activists. Love, Hirschfeld wrote,
Based.
in 1912's The Natural Law of Love, is as varied as people are.
Well over 100 years ago at this point, well, maybe not well over, but just a little over 100 years ago, this shit was going on. So, interesting. It's as if that, the history of queer folk and queer liberation and trans liberation's always kind of been around.
Intolerable to the Nazi state.
But it's just this new phenomenon that these butchers just want to enact.
Library, priceless and rare material, German and foreign, much of it addressing same-sex eroticism and gender nonconformity, were collected by the Nazis basically and consigned to flames. It is only now, nearly a century later, that the void left by the destruction of this pioneering work has begun to be filled. But the Nazis were anti-trans. They were certainly anti-gay. And
they're pretty much anything anti-not-Nazi.
Not be in favor of the kind of surgery, trans-affirming surgery, that that Peterson describes. And notice how he conflates transition therapy with conversion therapy. First, he downplays conversion therapy in all of those adjectives and adverbs, the flurry of them. He claims that it was not happening often, gay conversion therapy. It was just happening on the fringes with evangelical leaders.
Nope.
And he says that it really, like, it was happening, and he seems to indicate that he thinks it was bad, but that it was very fringe and not a big deal. But that...
Which undermines the whole idea of it being bad.
Of trans people,
Like, I mean, the idea of it being bad means that it would be a problem regardless of how small or significant it actually really is. And it, in itself, being a thing, would be, like, the overall issue and should be something that's, like, heavily addressed. And to him, it's not a big deal, and if anything, it doesn't even need worth, concerning yourself over because it's such a pseudo-problem. But yet, at the same time, wants to also compare that to, transgender reaffirming care, or at least transgender affirming care and shit, and saying that that is somehow the boogeyman and the big moral wrong and shit when it comes to, when it comes to their care, and when it comes to, the treatment, and is equivalent to that torture in the gay conversion therapy, despite, I guess, the gay conversion therapy not being an issue, but this is. It's just such double standard, two-faced fucking shit. And all it is just there, just to, undermine, queer folk and trans folk. And essentially boost and enable a lot of the Christo-fascistic, Nazi, fucking animalistic garbage that comes out of these fucking creatures' mouths. It's like, oh yeah, let me just, it's just like, let's just, listen to the great wisdom of this fucking creature, yeah,
It's so much worse and so much more prevalent that it has to be condemned because they are one and the same, but this one is really a butchering that is happening on a mass scale. Here's the difference, dipshit. It's consensual.
Dipshit. Man, she was a little too nice with that. She sounded pretty feminist saying it, but man, she should have said something a little different. It's like... yeah, I want to emphasize that just a little bit. I loved it.
The difference, you dipshit.
You dipshit. I mean, honestly, Jordan Peterson, oh my god, that is fucking huge honor. But for him, the least of his issues is not being a dipshit. It's being a fucking crazy psychopathic religious fundamentalist fucking creature of the fucking lagoon. I mean, that is about as fucking spam call. You can just go fuck yourself. I mean, that's about as much, needs to be concerned of when it comes to that stupid shit. I mean, the least of his concerns is being a dipshit.
Consensual. It's consensual. Gay
and yes, that too. Trans affirming care surgeries and shit are, consensual things that adults and even the children with the parents are, doing, which is a consensual thing. It's, partaking in. Gay conversion therapy isn't, hence why it's torture.
And you seem to care about the well-being of children, right? That's the entire premise of your argument, where you compare doctors who are performing surgery for trans people when they are adults, even though you hide that fact. That's why you're comparing...
This thing is ridiculous in comparison to, what a regular 30 is. Here's a regular 30. And then, man, this thing is huge. Whoa. Big old banana, dude. Womp. Just big old banana. Just absurd. I love it.
To Nazis. But the difference is that the conversion therapy for gay kids that you pretend was not that big of a deal, or was so on the fringes, was done without those children's consent and led to their suicide. It was happening when they were underage. Parents who didn't want them to be gay would send them to these kinds of camps against their will. The difference with trans care is that when they're under 18, their parents have to consent to everything. And the kids want it, and the parents want it, and the doctor understands the needs of that child. And when they're using hormone blockers, I want to be clear, not the butchering that he described, which is later stages in transitioning, which happens later.
Which are just basic, simple surgeries that, well, I mean, they're not simple, but they're very complicated surgeries. But they're, you know, basically simple as in, like, hey, you happen to be trans and, you know, or want to feel more affirmed into your body. It's like, okay, here's probably some basic paperwork and some other shit that you need to sign off on and stuff like that. And here's a date, and boom, you know, you get your surgery and shit. Like, it doesn't seem very that complicated when it comes to the process of getting it. I imagine the surgery itself is very complex.
With the consent of the parents and the consent of the kids. Period. There's no other way around it. It's in the law. So the entire premise of his argument is based on a false notion.
Talk about parents' rights, right? You know,
I know, right?
We have to stand up for parents' rights when they don't want.
It's like, come on now. I mean, it's like, look. I mean, the parents should decide what's best for the kid. Oh wait, your parents think, you know, they want their kids to be transgender. They're just groomers. Bunch of pedophile groomers is what they are.
In their kids' libraries, if they don't want them going to drag queen story hour with their, but no, like parents can't decide whether to bring their kids to drag queen story hour. And parents can't, you know, interface with their own child. They probably know better than anybody else to have mutual consensus on what their standard of care should be going forward in terms of their gender. That's the game. That's the game.
Sons of bitches.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Bradley with the soundboard, man. Yeah, it is. I really think that was the only reason that Jordan Peterson got hired. It's not like he's some sort of talented communicator, in my opinion. I think that he has an unearned confidence, perhaps, but they are on. I said this before. The turf wars, no pun intended, from the UK are well into the throes of it. We're well into the throes of it in the United States. Rupert Murdoch and the entire...
I mean, we've been in it. We've kind of been in it for a while. I mean, it's always been a thing. Like, you know, the early 2000s and the 90s existed, right? Like, do you know how much, like, outright transphobic shit was, like, going on in those movies? I mean, okay. I kind of disagree a little bit. I guess just with, you know, with how much it's just so fervently out there now, with how aggressive it is in comparison to just kind of, like, casually there. You know, just kind of, you know, take it for granted that, you know, oh, yeah, you know, yeah, we just kind of make fun of gay people. But now it's just like, oh no, they're taking away our right to make fun of them. Ah! So I guess in that way, but I mean, it's always been around.
Saw a lot of success in activating people, but with anti-trans hatred, and you got that's why they call it Turf Island. You got a lot of women or non-traditional allies of a conservative movement. Essentially, you were able to bring them over to your side on this issue because they're bigoted. And I think that it's not a coincidence that they saw, in their opinion, success in the UK, and the conservative media brought it over here. And so,
well, no shit.
I think that was a conscious choice.
I mean, conservatives, you know, work together internationally to work on very similar agendas that they want to push. So, I mean, of course. I mean, that just kind of goes without saying.
They really are going full court press on this.
Yeah. No shit. Yeah, well, yeah. The Christian fascists are just a bunch of, like, this disdainable fucking but like it's just barely able to qualify as people, as far as I'm concerned, with their fucking outright hatred and bigotry against their fellow man, and willing to just, you know, not just, you know, put them as second class, but essentially just like, you know, outright just exterminate them from society because they deem them undesirable. So fuck them. They get no cookie from me. They get no hugs from me. I won't even spit on the ground they fucking tread on, because at least the ground they tread has a little bit more value than them. And my spit honestly would be more insulting to, you know, put on them anyway. So I can at least do the ground a favor by fertilizing that, instead of, you know, wasting it on their face. Okay, with that extendo with 40 rounds, that thing looks ridiculous. I love it. It's amazing. Now I just need to get like 1 or 2 more of those, and then a 75 round drum, and a couple more 30 rounders, and I think I'll be happy with my magazine capacity. Well, DFF is still alive with their shit, huh? Kinda figured it probably would have been there by now. Steve Harvey and sumo wrestlers. Sumos? Are they on the sumo section?
He looks like he's.
Oh no, they're on
like
Steve Harvey.
Wishing that he could teleport away.
What?
And it's just like,
Wait, what?
he know, like, even when Gina says, you know, like, it just, like, immediately starts, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, no,
What?
he's sucking on the sourest gusher.
Look at him! What the fuck?
That's gotta be the number one answer.
What was it?
Yeah, the whole question is skewed towards this type of answer, you know what
Right,
I mean?
you
Like,
know, I mean,
they're always
they're trying to set you up, you know?
floating these weak innuendos, you know, so that people have the ability to give answers like this. It's a little bit racy and risque and fun.
I need your support. I need your support.
I cannot support you.
I cannot support you?
Why all your answers like that? It's not.
They honest.
They're all
Honest, but see, no, everybody. This is not a good answer.
It's not a good answer.
You think it's
It's a good answer. I don't know what it was, but I don't care.
Shut up! Nasty ass audience.
Oh,
Yeah, he's like,
damn.
He's hamming it up. It's great. No, I mean, like, this is...
Oh man, he's actually getting pissed, bro.
I don't sit
No, Steve Harvey's actually legitimately like a very fucking narcissistic kind of scum fucking person. So I actually feel like he was being a little genuine. It's like, shut up. It's like, I'm gonna be a little bit serious now. How dare you? How dare you go against the sanctity of my narcissistic ego?
Steve Harvey has had 3 daytime talk shows. Basically, have all had the same format. He goes out, he tells jokes, he helps people solve problems, and he preaches the gospel. So, so he had Steve Harvey, which ran from September 4th, 2012 to July 13th, 2017. Then he changed it to Steve, which ran from September 5th to June 26th of 2019. Sorry, September 5th of 2017 and to June 26th of 2019. Then Steve on Watch premiered on January 6th, 2020 and is still in production.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, I can't imagine watching the Steve Harvey talk show ever.
Why?
Unless, you know, it's a Vic Berger treatment. Because,
yeah. Well, this is just the Asian. We already read about that, so. So Rob Schneider and his wife Patricia put their marriage to the test. So this is
Oh,
Steve Harvey
God.
and Rob Schneider and Rob Schneider's wife.
Oh, this is... What the fuck? Oh, gross. This is a gross combination of people here. Rob Schneider and Steve Harvey. Dude, that's disgusting. Oh my god, Rob Schneider's like one element of just gross.
That you would love to get rid of.
And Steve Harvey's ego in itself is gross.
I picked
Oh my god, he looks so disgusting.
Yeah, because I'm being nice.
Okay, I said
Everything.
Oh.
Memorabilia.
memorabilia. All of
Okay, what'd you say?
No, I picked one. There's this Tibetan chest kind of thing. I don't know. I don't even know what it is in the bathroom.
yes.
What?
He looks honestly like taken aback and offended that she doesn't like the Tibetan chest and the
What
shitter.
the fuck
Like,
is
it's
wrong
brand
with
new
you,
to him.
bitch?
Yes,
What the
yeah.
fuck is wrong with you?
That's tasteful. That's peaceful. Ancient.
Chest. That is a fucking masterpiece, you
That's a
cunt.
masterpiece of Tibetan art.
I want to get rid of that.
Okay.
Damn.
Just go.
Don't
He's
tell
got
me
his
it's
little
not.
mustache logo. Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah, see that?
Okay, that's easy.
This is where marriages start to fall apart. A woman's
Okay,
worst
got it.
habit.
She's
She's
always
always
Oh.
right.
yeah, but she seems like she's wrong at the time. But then she looks it up, and I go like, oh no, she's right.
Yeah.
I'm always right. He's very stubborn. I thought that you were gonna say leave stuff out.
Oh yeah.
Given his status as an anti-vaxxer, his wife needs to look up a few more things.
Yeah, she needs to look up like a lot more
Hey, you know,
things.
also, is like anti.
And also, she seems like drunk as fuck. Like, does she have like a whole bottle of wine before she came up on stage? Like, she just literally just sounds drunker than a skunk.
This isn't the bottom of the barrel.
No, dude.
Oh god.
Judge Steve Harvey.
This had to happen, man. This is like
I mean, it was bound to happen. There was no way it wasn't gonna happen.
Judge Steve Harvey.
Judge Steve Harvey was gonna happen. You know?
Why is this a thing? I never knew that. Why?
I don't know. Is this show already on?
I don't know. Let's find out. Judge Steve Harvey is a court show. Yeah, it aired on January 4th, 2022. While Steve Harvey has never held any judgeship, legal license, has no legal jurisdiction in any country on earth, his rulings are based on, quote, his life experiences and good old common sense. I could just be myself. Most judges are interested in the law. These are the facts, and that's it. I'm going to dig up the story behind why people came to the court versus what they're in court for. I lean on decades of experience dealing with all types of situations and people, and I rely on my street savvy, common sense, and humor to get it done.
What?
No person that goes on the show is actually responsible for paying any judgment, and none of his rulings are legally binding. There you go.
I would hope so.
Basically, a phony baloney, Steve Harvey. Court
Just literally a fake court.
Here is an example of what.
So it's just a.
Via Instagram inbox.
Oh, you slid in his DM. The whole truth.
I plead the fifth.
You can't plead the fifth after you told the story. And nothing but the truth. Let me give you my thoughts on this. You crazy.
Since when is that a crime?
I got a feeling I'm about to hear a whole lot of nonsense, though.
Oh my god.
And you support that, so why not? I love how he's got like a golden gavel too. You know?
Is it golden?
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't
gotta-
even
he's gotta
notice
have
it.
Something that makes him stand out from the other.
He has to have something that's almost Trumpian in nature.
Judge Joe Brown already has.
Oh my god, he has a golden gavel.
Yeah, so you had to have.
Even
I mean,
oh,
it's
dude,
like
the whole
not
thing's
quite
gold.
Gold. It just kind of has like a golden look.
Yeah, it's like a bronze or whatever.
Dude, probably brass. But oh my god, bro.
You can't judge 'cause you're not a judge.
I can't judge because I'm not a judge.
I can't make legal bindings because I ain't a judge, but I'm gonna make a fake courtroom.
And such. Like,
Steve
all right.
Harvey on the Supreme Court, please. How about no?
Oh god, that would be horrible.
We've got plenty of crazy fucking conservative Christians on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, we don't need another one. Like, Steve Harvey's a crazy conservative Christo fuck. Like, we don't need another one,
Steve
dude.
Harvey
You didn't do
for
it the first
We don't need another
Steve
one.
Harvey for TV judge, I can get behind that. Like, I haven't seen this show, I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, I would be
but
fine with TV Judge, but
check it out. I'm sure it's tip-top quality. Hilarious throughout.
Let's see if
Doesn't get
the
old
show
at
is
all.
still going.
oh yes, I'm sure it is.
Please say it is.
I know at least 12 episodes have happened.
Okay,
Let's see.
so probably a dozen hours, 12 hours, something of.
So yeah, in April of 2022, it was renewed for a second season. So you will get more.
There's more, huh?
Judge Steve Harvey. How the fuck much money does this guy have? I know he has a lot.
He's a multimillionaire. Dude, Steve Harvey is a multimillionaire, hands down. Dude, that guy's a rich fuck.
That was
With the ego that he has, being like a Christian Fundy a little bit, and also being like in debt with, or not like in debt, but like in tied with like a lot of like different celebrities and shit. Like, oh, 100%, bro, multimillionaire.
Oh yeah, and he's like so many TV shows and shit. I'm looking at a few.
But his net worth is like at least 100-something
It
mil.
looks like a lot of them are saying he's worth 200 million.
Oh,
But then it says his salary is 45 million. So I feel like his salary. All right, here's Forbes. That's probably more reliable than these like CelebrityNetWorth.com. They say 280 million.
280
That
mil.
was updated on May 29th. So he's basically like,
Yeah, 100
he's
mil.
not quite a billionaire.
Quarter billionaire,
He's
basically.
like, but he's more than a quarter of the way there, and he might make it eventually. If this if he's Steve Harvey Judge shit, because I know fucking that was what made Judge Judy a fucking billionaire, pretty goddamn close to it.
Yep.
He's already got a pretty fucking good head start there. But anyway, Steve Harvey, I don't know. I can't completely hate the fucking guy, despite the fact that he's a moron. And he's like a kind of religious huckster.
An egotistical freak.
Because, like, I don't know. He's got that face. He's never going to not have that face.
I think
I mean, I suppose he also is pretty entertaining at times. I mean, I don't like absolutely hate him either. I just like would personally have disdain for him if I were to actually meet him. But as just like I guess like a personality on TV and shit, like I mean, yeah, he's fine. So
You know what it is? I think it's because he's kind of like earnest in a way that they're not the character, but like the adjective. Like he's
It's that dad thing that I was talking about.
He kind of feels like, my Steve. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like
It's like, oh, yeah.
he's got that vibe of like, he's just like a every man sitting on his couch, fucking talking weird shit, like man, goddamn, whatever this, blah 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 blah,
Yeah,
So
kind of.
It's more like emotional grunting than it is like reasoned thoughts about fucking complex topics or something,
Dad's always got a story.
Pretty much
to
the
tell,
summary of honestly,
he's
just
a
bluntly
little
conservative.
backwards in some ways, but what are you gonna do, man? He's from a different time, You gotta,
He's a pretty nice guy, honestly. He's fucking funny as fuck.
yeah, for some reason he gets that pass for sure.
He's Mr. Potato Head, essentially. I don't know about that, but
This potato head's a lot
Like
cooler.
His features could be rearranged and removed.
yeah,
I mean, a little bit. Like,
was
I could
really
take that
good.
mustache
Yeah,
off of Steve Harvey and put on no mustache.
Yeah.
They should put out a Mr.
He kind of does a little
Harvey,
bit.
Mr. Potato Head, where you can.
They should make a Steve Harvey
I think
Mr.
that would be
Potato Head.
decried as
Around.
racist, probably. I don't know why.
I mean, yeah, what the hell?
That would be decried as racist.
Yeah.
Oh, by who?
there's not like some
What? Like the
historical
fucking conservatives at this point who think they're like trying to diversify Potato Head and
maybe.
now they're trying to make black Mr. Potato Head.
Better check.
Like they're gonna freak out over that. Like oh my, dude, like who's gonna call it? Oh my god, I don't even buy it.
Removed after racism. What?
What?
6 foot Mr. Potato Head statue, one of dozens dotting Rhode Island as part of a tourism campaign, will taken down because of complaints that the grinning brown-skinned figure appeared Well, all right, never mind. Well, don't do it.
Well, god damn it, I guess all right, well, hoisted by my petard. Abort that mission, never mind. You know what? Point taken.
Oh god.
Touche, fair enough, fair enough.
You got so fucking woke, you know what I mean? Fucking woke.
Well, I guess it would be a little. I mean, I could see it, but it's just like, I mean, Mr. Potato Head's brown already. Like he's a potato, So it's just like I don't know, It's like I don't see a problem with it. I mean, I can see how it could be, but I mean, I don't think it's a problem. At least when it comes to that type of shit.
Preachers have the easiest job in the world. I just,
Oh, now they're going into sumos?
You just gotta like.
Oh, I guess they did start like an hour ago.
An emotionally manipulative yarn once it.
Dude, sumos though.
You know, that's your job.
Yeah, just go out there and fucking.
This is actually what I really wanted to kind of check out.
Bible verses in it.
I really honestly wanted to check out the fucking sumos, dude.
Fucking yell and scream. People be like, wow, what
But
a moving sermon.
do have to go to work soon, unfortunately.
If you've done the exact same speech,
You know, we could check it out later.
Like, what a fucking raving lunatic. Get yourself a nice building, get yourself some organ music, you know. Stand at the pulpit, get that echo going, you know. People all of a sudden like, wow, what a stirring oratory.
Legitimizes it all.
Basically.
So,
Subos. I'll have to check that out when I come back from work, honestly, because I'm actually legitimately curious about the history of sumo wrestling, because it does look like kind of a crazy fucking sport. I'm not even gonna lie. But, here, get myself one bowl loaded up here, then head off to work myself and all that fun shit. So, oh, I actually need to get my work shirt, which I left in my room. Fuck. God damn it. Boo. I suppose it don't have to be until 3, but whatever. Not a big deal to me. Anyway, get one more bowl loaded up. And oh, you know, I actually realized the new management is here today. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Hopefully, you know, be a good introductory greet, you know, with meeting them and stuff. So that'll be fun. All right, bowl load up. Definitely need to get myself something to drink, and I don't have nothing here. Boo! So I'll make sure I re-up on some tea when I get up there. I have just 2 fat old gallons and just have one of them for myself while I'm up there. Hell yeah. Anyway. I'll be back around for the next one, so peace out, and of course,